You will never look at suspension the same way again, especially when you're mobile, especially when you don't have the equipment. And one of the worst jobs I've always hated is compressing a spring. These are seriously heavy duty springs. They're a nightmare to compress, but I brought the whole thing and I'm going to fit this in minutes rather than hours. Boom, sorted. Now, I know what you're thinking, what a catch, and I realise that. Don't I just look beautiful? But what I want you to do is write down in the comments if you think this was the initial problem of the van doing the old shuddering and shaking. Let me know down below. If you don't think that's the problem, what is the problem? Boom! Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Yes, we are doing suspension. Look, we've got absolutely everything here. Absolutely everything. Right, so, reason why I'm doing this. I only technically need shock tops and the bearing's a bit...
I don't know. I think that's a bit dodgy, mate.
My springs, no, my springs are fine, but my shocks have been kind of leaking. But it's not really, it hasn't failed a test on the leaking and it hasn't really caused a problem. I just don't particularly like it. I said it when I originally got the van, so now I'm coming around to do it. One of the reasons why it's taken me a long time to do it is because I just didn't want to compress these springs. These are really, really heavy duty springs and I hate compressing them. I do not have the really huge big spring compressor. Obviously would make it a lot easier, but now I'm mobile. You know, for me to take off suspension and go down to my shed and then put the suspension on and go back down, because it's just not worth my time. It's not worth the customer. He's not going to pay me to do all that. It's just a lot of bloody hassle. So I've actually got this set and I've got another set coming for another vehicle. Reason is because especially when you're doing it for a customer, it's different when you're doing it for yourself. If you just want to cheap out and just do one thing or whatever, but you're doing it for a customer, you've got a reputation, anything happens, they're going to come back on you. You do a good job to tell one person, you do a bad job to tell a million. It's just the way it is. So at least with this, everything is brand new, so there's going to be no complaints. Yes, it's technically more expensive to do it this way than, say, just to buy a shock top, for example, right? But you get everything new and it's quicker to install. So for me to put a shock top on this, and most of them, you have to compress the spring, take it off, change the shock top, blah, 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 blah. That's a lot of work, a lot of hassle. Where all I'm doing, as soon as I take the old one off, I'm banging the new one on. Simples. It's literally one bolt at the top, one nut for the wishbone, for the drop link, two nuts and bolts for the suspension. I did try and get nuts and bolts and new drop links. I just couldn't get them in time for the video, and I just really want to get this done. It's now on a Sunday, so I just want to get it done and over with. And yeah, so but again, I would advise, if you're going to do this, you don't necessarily need new nuts and bolts at the top. I just do that because I'm just an idiot. But things like drop links and stuff, sometimes drop links can be hard to get off. I actually replaced these drop links 3 or 4 months ago, so my drop links are going to be fine. But still, it's just, honestly, it's going to make your life a lot easier. And the extra money you pay for the actual part, if you get someone to fit these, you're going to save a fortune, an absolute fortune in fitting. And I'm going to be doing another set of these for another customer on his driveway because I bought them like this. So I'm only going to show you one side because basically it's the same. These particular ones I don't think are left and a right. I think they're both left or right, I believe, and maybe not. Yeah, they are. So they've got the same clips, either or. So these, I believe, are they? I'm not sure, but I can check that. Once I just do one side, I'll check them to see if there is a left and a right, and I'll obviously put them like that. They come as a set, so. And I know everyone's going to ask me, oh, where did you get them from? Where did you get them from? I actually got these from Autodoc. It's not a sponsored video. I actually paid for these. They didn't ask me to say anything, but I know if I don't, everyone's going to ask me. And I know, to be honest, you know, a lot of people are going to want to know. They maybe don't want the hassle of buying them from Germany. Maybe there's other companies, but it's a thing that I've always wanted to find, is someone who makes complete spring setups, because it's just better. You know, even all the rubbers for the bottom spring, that's all new. So it's up to you how you want to do it. Obviously, I'm telling you now, this is the best way to do your suspension. It truly is. So yeah, let's figure out now if there's a left and a right and get the old one off. Right, I will admit, I've been having an issue with my van for quite a while. Sometimes, not all the time, but more often than not, when you're pulling away, it starts vibrating and shaking, and it's so fucking annoying, like really annoying, to the whole van starts shaking, like it's getting its harmonic resonance or harmonic residency, and it's just going to shake itself apart. It's a fucking nightmare, and I've been really struggling to figure out what's going on. And everything I found, it's kind of stopped and then it comes back. So in other words, I on another video I did the steering rack. The steering rack was really bad on this, and it was moving, and I was swore blind it was coming from the steering rack. Put a steering rack in. The problem went away for 2 or 3 months, and I thought, yes, definitely solved it. Then I know my wishbones were bad. They're my wishbones. The bottom or the back bushings were completely and utterly gone, and I was like, yes, okay, that's the problem. The problem went away for a few months and then come back. Then I found one of my engine mounts. I've got 3 engine mounts in this van. I'm in the process of replacing them all. I'll be doing another video on that. And I saw one that was really, really bad, and I was like, oh yes, that's it. Replaced just one of them. Problem went away for 2 or 3 months, and now it's come back. So it's so fucking annoying. Because when you see the bottom wishbone's gone, you just think, okay, well that's the problem. Bottom wishbone's gone, and the bottom wishbones were that bad. I couldn't see any other play anywhere else because of the bottom wishbones are moving. This was clicking. I can hear the driver's side one clicking when I turn sometimes. So I was thinking, well, maybe is there something weird? Is the bearing in here wobbling and this is going backwards and forwards? Because again, it's a possibility. But when you see how bad the wishbones is, you think it's the wishbones. When you see how bad the engine mounts are, you think it's the engine mounts. And when it disappears for 3 or 4 months and comes back, it's just fucking annoying. So the only thing I've got left to replace in this van, and all these bits needed replacing. I haven't just replaced it just to try and find this, because every time I find an issue I replace it, is the suspension and my engine mounts. Every other bushing has basically been changed in the front of this, so it has to be. It just has to be. Well, there is another engine mount underneath which I have replaced when I did the clutch in it, so yeah. Right, you can see in here, you can. Now, that is not directly in the middle. Now, I don't know if it's supposed to be directly in the middle. The other one on the other side is more in the middle. This one is making more noise. I'm going to be obviously replacing both of them, but it's just something to see. But again, in the set, we get all this brand new as well. So I'm going to remove this first before I jack it up, because this is what actually stops the shock completely falling out. So if you remove the bottom 2 bolts, nut and bolts, and you don't remove this, the shock's not going anywhere. So I'm going to remove that first. You can see here, quick sneak peek, that's the top engine mount I've replaced. Now, these are the issues I'm having. Look, that engine mount isn't gone, it's just all cracked, and I was wondering, oh, I wonder if it's a bit weak. But I don't want to do it all together, because I want to find out exactly what's making this do this. Because whenever I come across it again, I'm going to know. So if I replace everything all at once and it solved the problem, I would never have known what the issue was. So is it more the shocks, or is it more engine mount related? So that's where really kind of where I want to go. I want to figure that out. So 21 mil, I'm going to remove that, and then we're going to jack it up, take the wheel off, and I'll show you the rest. The more I look at this now, is the more I maybe think it is coming from the suspension. You can see that really is to one side, and I reckon, I know this is clicking when I'm turning, so I know the shock top is bad. I reckon this is rattling around inside the shock top, which is making the suspension move, which is causing the juddering and the spluttering and all sorts of crap, I think. But I said that about everything else I took off. Right, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. This is going to be, anyone that's ever done suspension, especially at home without the right equipment, when I take these few nuts and bolts off, they're going to be so jealous, because it's just, all I've literally got to do now is take off 2 nuts and bolts, take off 1 more nut, and then disconnect this brake line, which I've just done, pushed it out. It just pushes into that side, but on the opposite side. Disconnect these, and then this suspension is out. And in my particular case, there isn't a left and a right suspension. Sometimes there is, but on this particular suspension, it's got all the clips on both sides the same way, so you don't need a left or a right. The hardest thing I'm going to get off is going to be the drop link. Now, my drop link is fairly fresh, so it might just come off with the gun. And it does. That goes to show you that it is nice and fresh. The problem is now it's under load. get a bar on it. So we put a bar here and here, push down, take the load off. Because of the anti-roll bar, don't smash it with a hammer. I just lightly tapped it, because you'll just damage the threads and then you're gonna have to replace it. Unless you replace it, then it don't bloody matter, does it? That's 21, not 22. 21, is it? Yeah, 21. Now, when you're doing this, when you're taking a nut and bolt off, it's normally tends to be easier if you're using a, doesn't matter if you're using a ratchet or a gun or an air gun, doesn't really matter, but it tends to be easier to use the gun or the ratchet on the side of the actual nut, not the side of the bolts. It tends to be. Now, that bolt seized. What the hell? Oh, did you hear that? My bearing has just collapsed. No, I knew it was bad.
What happened? Your balls drop off?
Oh, but I don't know if this is part of my shaking. This is just part of the cracking it's making as I'm turning the steering wheel. Hopefully the camera picked all that up there. Me balls fell on the floor. You know you're getting old when the balls fall on the floor, man. Like Formula 1 pit crew speed, changing the whole suspension. This is why it's just good just to do this, because it's so much quicker, so much better. Because now my whole suspension is changed because it's out. Look at that. There we go. I'll show you that in a second. The shock top actually is still in there. Oh. Oh. You see that? Shock top is still stuck in there, so I'm gonna have to get that out now. But the bearing is completely and utterly gone. That's why it wasn't in the middle. Right, that video clip was 4 minutes long of me, or just over 4 minutes, and that was me talking and filming it. So you can imagine just how quick this is to take it out if you wasn't filming it. Yeah, just completely and utterly gone. You can see, look, it's really started eating into there. That's why the suspension was off to one side. That's going to be causing problems for your wishbones, for your tyres, for all sorts. It'll be putting pressure on everything. It's not good for anything. So yeah, that's why all my balls fell on the floor. Right, I don't know how much you can see. Oh, actually, before I do that, I just need to make sure there's no damage done to the turrets. I don't think there is. No, there isn't. Because then we would be in trouble if there was damage done to that. But there isn't. The old rubber shock top took care of all that. Now, get this in the right way now. So it's a bit more awkward on the floor. Turn on touch. Well, we know we're in on the top, that's the problem. There we go. Now, come on, behave yourself. Now, both bolts kind of in place. Just like that. Get the other one to line up. Now these bolts do have a little lines on them, which is actually good because it holds them in place when you're tightening the bolt. Now, before we tighten anything, just need to make sure everything fits like it should. Put the brake line back on, just push it in there. Put the drop link back on, push that down, and push it down and feed it in. Come on. Come on. There we go. There we go. And double check up here. We're in place. We are. And then just tighten everything, people. And that is my full suspension fitted. That's just made so many people jealous, especially then when they're doing it on the side, or not the side of the road, but doing it in the driveway, using the old-fashioned widow makers, and just, yeah. Wrong way. That's how you can tell it's a fairly fresh drop link as well. 21mm, where's my 21mm gone? Should just be able to do this without putting the spanner on it. And that, people, is literally it. That's what I was telling you about there, putting that in. How simple is that? Oh, I love it. I'm never buying shocks any other way for anybody. I don't care. I'd sooner lose jobs now. Yes, I have to wait, you know, well, anywhere from 4 to 7 days to get it delivered. It just depends on the delivery, but yeah, look, I'm over the moon with that. So bloody easy. Just put that little nut on top. Well, actually, let's see. Even though the suspension isn't on properly, in the sense of, look at that. That's in the middle again. You see that? Nope, you can't see it. Now you can see it. It doesn't look like it on camera, but believe me, yeah, that is in the middle. How it should be. But there is a but. But. It's gonna be a bitch to edit all that. Has this solved my juddering in as you take off in first gear? That's what we're gonna have to wait and see. And the problem is, it's not gonna be a simple thing, because every time I've ever replaced anything on it, it's normally taken at least 2 to 3 months for the juddering to come back. So it's only engine mounts now, which are really easy to do, but it's going to be curious to see, because like I said, I'll be completely honest with you, I just don't know what's been causing it, because every like that shock top was bad, it could cause it. The wishbones were bad, they could cause it. The steering rack could have caused it, because it was moving quite a lot, to be fair. Engine mounts, again, could cause it. So everything I've replaced that needed replacing could have caused it. You can see it's not leaking bad. It's been like that forever, in the sense since I've got it. It hasn't got any wetter, but it hasn't got drier either. This is that is my lovely, what's left of my bearing. It's just the inner race that's left. the actual suspension being squeezed between here and the van was keeping it all in place, because I don't know where all my balls have gone. I only found one of my balls, which is here. Where did my other balls go? I don't bloody know. Oh, there's one. I got my 2 balls back. Right, there we go. It's all done. It's that quick. I don't think I can even put adverts on this video. So yeah, that's just how quick it is, but I'm sure I'll find a way. I'll just talk shit like I do in all my videos. I'm sure I can get it over the old minutes. But one thing I do want to say is just remember, this can only go on one way. See, there's a little cutout there. There's a little straight bar. So that can only go on one way. This bit needs to be face down, but again, this bolt will only fit in the cutout one way. So if you do it this way, it doesn't fit in the cutout. So it can only go in one way. It's easy enough. But looks like we had a little visitor. You can see in there. Look at that. And look at the little nest he's made himself in there. You see? Little shit. Just so you know what it should look like, look. That's what it should look like. That's the bearing. And yeah, we didn't have that. In hindsight, I should have filmed the other side. I'll explain why. I just had a massive fight. Well, it wasn't massive, but you know what I mean. Just show you the other one. So this one was intact, but listen, really, really bad. Another thing not to be afraid of is this one's not sticking up as much as the other one because it's not properly home inside there. You're not going to be able to do it really with your hands. You're going to have to wait after you go down the road, and this sits in a lot better. Then just make sure that is tight. I got it tight. So the reason why I should have filmed this side, this may not happen to you because I had my gearbox out and did a clutch on this not that long ago. As I release this, the brake and the front hub wants to come this way, which is fine. But it pulled the shaft out of the gearbox and we leaked a bit of gearbox oil. Nothing to worry about. Not enough for me to be concerned, but still. You don't want to take that out, walk away, have a cup of tea, come back, and then you realise you got all your gearbox oil on the floor, because that would be a bit of a nightmare. Like I said, it might not happen to you, but it's just because my shaft had come out. So, you know, it's annoying when your shaft pulls out and it leaks everywhere. It gets messy. And anyone who thought anything different, naughty you. Naughty, naughty, naughty. And the way to get this out is I just shoved the bar up here. I got in behind there and pulled it out. Because, like, I've only got maybe that much of the other one in because there's a lot to be pushed in there. Oh, whatever I say now, I just can't. It's like a, oops, it's like a Carry On movie. Right, so that's it. As always, hope it helps. Please like, comment and subscribe, and don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.